Jeff, call the roll.
Cook. Here. Hopkins.
Here.
O'Donnell.
Here.
Patterson.
Here.
Richardson.
Here.
Aaron Scott.
Here.
Bill Scott.
Here.
Wampel. Wormowski. Williams.
Here.
Mayor Ezra. City Attorney Beard.
Here. All right. Well, the first one is discuss Jacksonville Promise request, and there it is. Hey, Doc.
Thanks. Some of you may remember about 5 years ago when I made a presentation in front of the city council before, and had the idea to institute a sales tax to try to fund the Jacksonville Promise. And at that time, I discussed what the value of a Jacksonville Promise is to the city of Jacksonville and to cities in general. It was an idea that came out of the Kalamazoo Promise, which was started about 12 years ago. And it started as a subcommittee of the JREDC here. The primary goal of the Jacksonville Promise is to create an economic engine for the city of Jacksonville. And it does that by making it cheaper for local parents to send their children to college, thus making Jacksonville a more ideal place to plant roots and raise a family and have a job and so on. The numerous benefits of a Promise program that is successful are kind of listed at the end of a letter that I brought to you today. And what I wanted to do in this letter is kind of delineate where we went since that request 5 years ago, when a sales tax wasn't something that we could muster. At that point in time, we decided to try to raise the money through private donations. And we've been doing this now for about 2.5 years. We have had 2 groups of students that we have given awards and scholarships to. Our first year, actually our first 18 months of fundraising went for 2 classes of graduates. Two years ago, we raised $40,000 in our first 18 months from local community support. In our second 12 months, we raised $60,000. And we are now in our 3rd year of fundraising. And so far, we are on track to raise about $80,000 for our 3rd year of fundraising. Our single major contributor has been the Traci Family Foundation, which is a charitable arm of Dot Foods. And they are very excited about the Promise program here. Mainly because they're instituting their own Promise program in Brown County, and they kind of look to us to see how things go here and what kinds of problems we have and so on. But they're interested in seeing us develop not only a more diversified giving base in the community among individual donors, but also to enlist more corporations than we've enlisted so far, and to try to enlist the help of local government. When you invest in the Promise, the dollars that you put into the community, into the Promise program, get paid to the local colleges directly for supported scholarships. Those colleges spend money on local businesses for supplies, and they spend money on paying teachers. Teachers take their salaries and they spend money locally. And this is a cyclic effect. The money gets spent locally and they get spent locally again. About 2 years ago, I went to a convention in Kalamazoo, Michigan called Promise Net, where all of the communities in the nation get together and discuss their Promise experiences. And I talked with some of the representatives of the people that are trying to put together a Promise program in Rockford, and they solicited the business department of Northern Illinois University, who said that their best estimate of what happens to dollars when local communities put dollars into a Promise program is that they get about a 14-to-1 return on investment. I have no way to validate that other than that report from the Northern Illinois Business School. There is an excellent book out on all of the benefits of a Promise by Michelle Miller Adams of the Upjohn Institute, which I've pointed out in a letter that lists all the various things that you can expect in terms of improvement in academics, in terms of retention of students for your community later, in terms of where they live. And I would encourage you very heartily to consider donating to the Promise and supporting us in our effort. We currently have a matching grant from the Traci Family Foundation of $20,000, of which $10,000 must be from new corporate sponsors, and you all would count as a new corporate sponsor. So if you could help us towards that goal, we'd be very appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? City Attorney's report.
Thank you. Two items. One is the regular resolution to make certain closed session minutes open to the public. The second item is discuss approving closing the Heritage Cultural Center account and transfer of funds. What's going on here? For many years, with our understanding and knowledge, certainly, the Heritage Cultural Center account used the city of Jacksonville's taxpayer ID number. None of the funds were city tax dollars, either through donations or through dues that they used to charge. I'm not sure that they still do. The auditors brought to our attention that if they are using our taxpayer ID number, they really need to be part of our audit, which doesn't make a lot of sense because it's not city funds. Over the past year or so, Ron, working with their board, finally got them to the point, I shouldn't say it like that, they are at the point, they have their own taxpayer ID number, they can accept the funds that are in the account now and basically terminate the account under the city's taxpayer ID number and just go with their own. There's less than $2,000 in the account
In
now.
the checking account, there's $1,065 plus accrued interest of the first of the month.
So this resolution merely acknowledges that we have paid them what was theirs, we'll pay out the balance of what is theirs, close the account under the taxpayer ID number of the city, and then we'll be done with it.
Now, Dan, does that address also the bigger grant
The
that they
CD,
did?
yes, they had a part of what they had in the number was a donation from the state, I believe.
No, it was from Emmeline Bond Estate in
Yes.
2005.
And they recently transferred that about 30,000.
41,000.
41,000 to their own account. Again, this is not city money, this is theirs.
There's no city or taxpayer money involved in any of this.
So we're basically releasing it to them, so we don't have to worry about including it in our audit.
The auditors, both Suzanne Steckel and Adam Withy, really questioned what we were doing in the first place, and they said, you really ought to transfer.
Any questions on that? If not, that's all that I have tonight.
All right. We don't have city clerk's report. Planning and Public Works Committee.
We have two items tonight. First one, discuss waiver of advertisement for bids and accepting the proposal for replacement of two HVAC units at the Jacksonville Fire Department substation. I'll turn this over to Terry.
The air conditioner and there's two furnaces and two air conditioners. They take care of the substation. They were installed, the furnaces were installed in 1972, as well as one of the air conditioner units. And we can't get the parts for them anymore, so.
Really? That's amazing.
We thought it might be the time to go ahead and upgrade these and make it so it's a little bit more modern and efficient. So I put out proposals to 4 different local companies, and I got back a proposal from Doyle Plumbing and Heating for $10,975. And I'd like to go ahead and go with them.
This question on that level, aren't we buying 4 units for the parks? Didn't we approve that just recently? What company is we going through for those?
Brennan.
Brennan's,
Brennan, did they give a bid on this at all?
yes,
And they were higher.
yes.
Maybe we get a discount for 6 units.
They were the third highest.
I think we just did 2. I think we did 2 several years ago.
The 2 to 1, we're doing 4 for the park this time?
I think it was just 2.
2.
2? Okay.
That's a great idea, though. Instead of having 5 bids out there a year, just bid them all at the same time.
Yeah.
Capital improvement?
Yes. And that's, I believe I had $14,000 in the capital improvement, so this is about $3,000 underneath what I had in there.
Any questions? Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Can't do another 47 years out of that.
Second one is discuss waiver of advertisement for bids and accepting proposals on state bids for purchase of a loader for the municipal services department. And I'll hand that over to Les.
Yep, we'd like to purchase a new end loader to replace a 2001. It's 17 years old, and 10,000 hours, something like that. And spent 16 years in the salt dome, so it's, kind of a rust bucket. I think the finance committee decided to purchase that through payments. 5 payments at $24,550 for 5 years, and purchase it for $1 at the end of the 5 years. That's a capital improvement item also.
Now, we'll have to put that in for 5 years then.
Yep.
Any other questions?
What happens to the old one, you scrapping it?
No, they're traded in.
Traded.
Really?
Yeah, they're giving us, let me see, I think 20,000.
Probably one of the most used and abused pieces of equipment at City Garage.
Yeah, they're giving 20,000 for it.
That's pretty good, really.
22, 150.
150.
I wouldn't give that for it.
No,
Hey, some.
that's that new price market.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, no public text study. Is there any public comment?
I had something I wanted to put under public protection.
Okay.
if that's possible. I had on the agenda originally this week to talk about the new in-car camera purchase that we had allotted $120,000 in the capital improvement budget. And I was waiting on, I had applied for the camera grant through the state of Illinois for reimbursement in that. And I found out in the process, I removed it from the agenda to have it more specific for the next meeting, because I was just gonna lump it all into one thing. But I wanted to bring this up tonight because more information came to light since Friday morning. We were awarded $45,555 towards those cameras from the grant that we wrote for the camera grant. So the only problem with bringing it up tonight is that they put a deadline on us to accept the grant money by May the 30th, and also by June the 30th to be able to provide them with the serial numbers of the equipment that we intend on purchasing to be able to get reimbursed for that money. So with Dan's help, I don't know if we can say, could I get verbal consent to purchase those items? Or do we
I think you
need
can get a
to?
consensus if the council is ready to do that. We can't obviously
Okay.
take any formal
Right.
action tonight on it, and certainly not at this meeting. But if the consensus is to take advantage of that grant, then you can go forward.
So I can start moving forward with getting that in order so I can get those serial numbers and that stuff provided to the state so we can get that reimbursement. Another reason I'm bringing it up is that I'll have more of it to put specifically together at the next meeting so it'll all make sense. Because it's kind of a 3-part thing. It's cameras, it's equipment, it's installation, which is all included in the original capital improvement. But this grant changes things a little bit because it's gonna offset some of the prices of the in-car cameras, because they're for the cameras specifically only. You can't purchase other equipment with it, has to be for the cameras, which is gonna make a difference. And to make a long story short, there's a server that we have to purchase with this equipment for the storage of that. Well, I've been working on another project to upgrade the infrastructure of the police department's interview rooms. In that was going to have to wait until down the road, but this server is compatible to that system as well. And there's gonna be some substantial savings with the grant money that it may be time to look at upgrading those 3 rooms. Since we are saving that $45,000, we would still be returning a substantial amount of money to the taxpayers because of the grant. But with the server compatible to the switch over of those rooms, and some of the equipment is still there that we'll be able to reuse, I'm going to bring another proposal to maybe we could introduce that project as well, because the funding would be there this year and it wouldn't be something we'd have to wait another year to do, to upgrade the infrastructure of some of the things that have kind of outdated themselves. So just that's an
So the
idea
grant more or less than what you're paying for that anyway, right?
for
For the upgrade.
for the 3 rooms.
Yeah.
Well, that grant money is specific for the in-car.
Right, but I mean,
But
the
it'll
offset,
offset.
the
They
offset.
all offset the cost.
Right, the initial thought to upgrade those 3 rooms was gonna be somewhere around $20,000, which was gonna be a project down the road, but the substantial amount of that project was gonna be the server that I had to purchase, which I was able to get a compatible server in with the in-car cameras. So therefore, that's gonna offset that cost of those 3 rooms substantially. And just hypothetically, let's say that the cost of that server was $10,000, that project was 20, that knocks it down to 10, saving 45,000 on the reimbursement from the grant. We would still be able to give the city back roughly 35,000 in taxpayer dollars and do both projects at one time, so.
Is
But
the
that's,
money ready?
Yes.
but
Do we need to vote to approve him buying it, or since it's ready to buy it?
No, we just gotta get consensus.
We're gonna do it in
Also-
consensus tonight. We're not voting.
right, I'm just bringing
I
this
think it's a
information.
great idea.
Also, the cameras I was able to
Great
go out
opportunity.
that we wanted and find them on state bid, so I even got a bigger discount on the cameras, but I just kind of give you a heads up of what I'm gonna propose in 2 weeks. I didn't have time with the grant money coming in to just request one thing, but, because it's gonna be a bigger project now that I think we can, we're still gonna give money back and be able to accomplish 2 projects in this
You just
grant.
need to tell the grant.
Great opportunity.
This is the next meeting not till 29th, it's like,
Tuesday.
does that give you enough time?
Is that okay if we have
Does that
that
give you enough time, 2
on
days?
Tuesday?
Yep, as long as I can start moving forward with the company, that's really all I'm asking for, is to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, Memorial Day is the next
How many
Monday.
units you looking at?
We have it on Tuesday.
We're upgrading all of our fleet cars, so it was 11 in-car cameras, so we're gonna upgrade all the cars with video, audio, and storage. And then we're gonna be able to hopefully incorporate that second project that was kind of a pipe dream, but
Could do it.
it could come to reality.
So I was gonna say, if you want a meeting next week.
That way he won't be delayed and we lose the money.
It's all in the budget.
It's all in the budget, all here, all good. Yep.
I'd say it's a good thing to go for it.
Yes.
Guys,
Great opportunity.
It's
a great opportunity.
Next week sometime. If you wanna-
Yeah.
The issue we're having, Adam, with a lot of that is our storage of, the actual footage.
Right, and the in-car camera system server turns out to be the same one we were looking at, or the other, and the amount of storage it'll hold. It's kind of like if you envision it as a corral. These animals go here, these go here, and this goes here, and the storage amount is enough to substantiate all of them.
That's great.
It's a
So
huge
do we have a
savings to be able to-
consensus then?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we got consensus. I'm just interested in that because that's our issue with our storage right
The
now.
vote really did, and all I really need is the permission to move forward, so the vote you got.
We're all super excited. I'm excited. You excited? I'm excited. This is great.
Do we have to hire 3 personnel to keep them for 3 years?
That's me.
What do you say?
So that's all I had.
Thanks, chief.
All right.
Where are we
We're
at?
done, we already had
We're
a
done.
comment, we're done.
Next door. Adjourn.
That's
Can
workshop.
you talk about Brooklyn Avenue,
No, I
the
did
other
not.
bridge?
I did not.
Les, do you mind giving the council an update about the?
Brooklyn Street Bridge
Yeah.
is, gonna have to be torn out
Yeah.
for public safety probably. It's fell down probably 3 foot. It wasn't bad at first, but now I don't know how it fell, but it's fell probably, 3 foot, so.
Got a couple holes in there too, huh?
It's a couple of holes. I don't know if they're older or not, but, I got one price, I wanted to get 2 prices, I got 1 price, and, it's $12,000
For demolition?
to take that
Oh,
bridge
all
down.
I mean, this is kind of an emergency basis. He tried to go out, but it's in disarray, so.
And our next bridge inspection, they might make us do it anyway.
Yeah.
we have money budgeted for it, Don?
Well, across the brook.
We'll find it, okay.
Yeah, just in the middle of nowhere, probably, that's across the brook.
Mayor, would you be able to get an update on what the plans will be for East State, the new grant with that?
Yes, I'll have Jim Burton come at the next meeting, yeah. Good idea.
Don't cross it down.
Good.